now would look at the long run theory of production. It says in the long run, as I said before, all factors of production are. Good afternoon or good morning or at whichever time you're watching this video clip. Welcome back. We're going to look at the long run theory of production now. As I said before, in the long run, all factors of production are variable. There is time for the firm to build a new factory, maybe in a different part of the country. There's time for the firm to install new machines to use different techniques of production and in general to combine its inputs in whatever proportion and in whatever quantities it chooses. In the long run, then, there are several decisions that a firm has to make. Decisions about the scale and location of its operations and what techniques of production it should use. These decisions affect costs of production. It is important, therefore, to get them right. The scale of production, we look at that first. Okay, there are different decisions. Decision about the what? Scale and location of operations. So we look at the scale of production first. If a firm were to double all of its inputs, something it could do in the long run, would it double its output? Or will output output more than double or less than double? We can distinguish three possible situations as relates to scale of production. First one, constant returns to scale. This is where a given percentage increase in inputs will lead to the same percentage increase in what? An output. It is where, so constant returns to scale is where what? Okay, constant returns to scale is where a given percentage increase in inputs will lead to the same percentage increase in what? Output. The next possible situation is increasing returns to scale. This is where a given percentage increase. This is where a given percentage increase in output will lead to a larger percentage increase in what? Output. Alright. Next one now is decreasing returns to scale. This is where a given percentage increase in inputs will lead to a smaller percentage increase in output. So these are the three situations. So we can distinguish. So in a firm, if a firm were to double all of its inputs, something could do in the something it could do in the long run, would it double its output or will output more than double or less than double? So we can use these three situations to decrease the scale of production, whether it be constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, or decreasing returns to scale. Notice terminology here. The words scale mean all inputs increase by the same proportion. Decreasing returns to scale are therefore quite different from diminishing marginal returns, where only variable factors increases. The differences between marginal returns to a variable factor and returns to scale are listed in table 5.4 as you see here. Alright. So you have input 1 and 2, output 25, input 1 and 2, output 15 and so forth. Alright. Alright, let's look at this now. There are some amount of diminishing marginal return, right? Notice that as each addition as their as input increases, right? you realize that output decreases, right? 45 to 60, 25 to 45 was what? That's a 20 increase, right? One more input, you reduce to what? 15, the change reduces to 15. Then change reduces to 10, then change reduces to what? Only 5. So there in the short run, there is what? Diminishing marginal return. What about in the long run now? In the long run, you observe that there is no diminishing marginal return. Good? In this case. Because 15 to 25 is 20, 25 to 60, 25. So there's an increase in the amount of changing amount of output, right? Under the long run. Good. We look at economies of scale now. The concept of increasing returns to scale is closely linked to that of economies of scale. A firm experiences economies of scale if costs A firm experiences economies of scale if costs per unit of output fall as the scale of production increases. Clearly, if a firm is getting increasing returns to scale from its factors of production, then as it produces more, it will be using smaller and smaller amounts of factors per unit of production. Other things being equal, this means that it will be producing at a lower unit cost. There are several reasons why firms are likely to experience economies of scale. Some are due to increasing returns to scale, some are not. One is specialization and division of labor. In large scale plant farms, um, in large scale plants, I must say, in large scale plants, workers can do more simple, repetitive jobs. With specialization and division of labor, less training is needed. Workers can become highly efficient in their particular job, especially with production, long production units, long production runs. There is less time cost. There's less time lost in workers switching from one operation to another, and supervision is easier. Workers and managers can be employed who have specific skills in specific areas. Next, next one is indivisibilities. So there are several reasons why firms are like this with economies of scale. This is one, specialization and division of labor. Next reason is indivisibilities. Right? Some inputs are of a minimum size. They are indivisible. That means they cannot be divided. That means they cannot be divided, right? The most obvious example is machinery. Take the case of a combine harvester. A small scale farmer could not make full use of one. They only become economical to use therefore on farms above a certain size. And the problem of indivisibility is made worse that when different machines is made worse when different machines, each of which is part of production process, are of a what? Different size. For example, if there are two types of machine, one producing 6 units a day, other producing packaging 4 units a day, a minimum of 12 units would have to be produced, involving two production machines and three packaging machines. If our machines are to be what? Fully utilized. Next one is what? Container principle. Any capital equipment that contains things, for example, blast furnaces, oil tankers, pipes, watts, etc., tends to cost less per unit of output the larger its size. The reason has to do with the relationship between a container's value and its surface area. A container's cost depends largely on the materials they use to build and hence roughly on its surface area. Its output depends largely on its volume as well. The next one is what? Greater efficiency of large machines. Large machines may be more efficient in the sense that more input can be gained for a given amount of inputs. For example, only one worker may be required to operate a machine, whether it be large or small. Also, a large machine may make more efficient use of raw materials. Next one is byproducts. The production on a so these is a reminder that these are the various reasons why firms are likely to experience economies of scale. Alright? There are a few byproducts now. But then another with production on a large scale, they may be sufficient waste products to enable them to make some byproduct. Multi-stage production, a large factory may be able to take a product through several stages in its manufacture. This saves time and cost in moving the semi-finished product from one firm to another or factory to another. For example, a large cardboard manufacturing firm may be able to convert trees or waste paper into cardboard and then into cardboard boxes in a continuous sequence. All of the above are examples of plant economies of scale. They are due to an individual factory or workplace or machine being large. There are other economies of scale, however, that are, that are, that are associated with the firm being large. Profit manufacturing includes organizational economies. With a large firm, individual plants can specialize particular functions. There can also be centralization. Sorry, there can also be centralized administration of the firm, often after a merger between two firms. Savings can be made by rationalizing the activities in this way. Spreading overheads. Some overheads, some expenditures are economic only when the firm is large. For example, research and development that is only a large firm can afford to set up a research laboratory, which is right. This is another example of indivisibilities. Only this time, at the level of the firm rather than the what, plan. The greater the firm's output, the more these overhead costs are spread. In national economies now, large firms may be able to obtain finance at lower interest rates than small firms. They may be able to obtain certain inputs cheaper by buying in bulk. Economies of scope. Often a firm is large because it produces a range of products. This can result in each individual product being produced more cheaply than if it was produced. Let's do a little revision. So, for example, only one worker may be required to operate a machine, whether it be large or small. As a large machine may be more efficient, make more efficient use of raw materials. Byproducts, next one. With production on large scale, there may be sufficient waste products to enable them to make some byproduct. Multiple production stage now. A large factory may be able to take a product through several stages in its manufacture. This saves time and cost in moving the semi-finished product from one firm to a factory to another. For example, a large cardboard manufacturing firm may be able to convert trees or waste paper into cardboard and then into cardboard boxes in a continuous space. All them are examples of planned economies of scale. They are due to an individual factory or workplace or machine being large. There are other economies of scale, however, that are associated with the firm being large, perhaps with many factories. Perhaps it's same with many factories. First one is what? Organizational economies. With a large firm, individual plants can specialize in particular functions. There can also be centralized administration of the firm. Often after a merger between two firms, savings can be made by rationalizing their activities in this way. Next one is spreading overheads. Some expenditures are economic only when the firm is large. For example, research and development. Only a large firm can afford to set up a research laboratory, which is right. This is another example of indivisibilities. Only this time at the level of the firm rather than the plant. The greater the firm's output, the more these overhead costs are spread. Financial economies. Large firms may be able to obtain finance at lower interest rates than small firms. They may be able to obtain certain inputs cheaper by buying in bulk. Economies of scope now. Often a firm is large because it produces a range of products. This can result in each individual product being produced more cheaply than if it was produced in a single product firm. The reason for these economies of scope is that various overhead costs and financial and organizational economies can be shared among the products. For example, a firm that produces a whole range of CD players, amplifiers, and tuners can benefit from shared marketing and distribution costs and bulk purchase of electronic components, that is. Important terms to remember include indivisibilities, which is the impossibility of dividing a factor into smaller units. Plant economies of scale means economies of scale that arise because of the large size of the factory. Rationalization means the reorganizing of production so as to cut out waste and duplication and generally to reduce costs. Overheads, costs arising from the general running of an organization and only indirectly related to the level of output. Economies of scale when increasing the range of products produced by a firm. Sorry, when increasing the range of products produced by a firm reduces the cost of producing each one. And yeah, this economies of scale now, where cost per unit of output increase as the scale of production what increases. This economies of scale now, when firms get beyond a certain size, cost per unit of output may start to increase. There are several reasons for such diseconomies of scale. Reasons include management problems of coordination may increase as the firm becomes larger and more complex, and as lines of communication get longer. There may be a lack of personal involvement by management. Another one, workers may feel alienated if their jobs are boring and repetitive, and if they feel an insignificantly small part of a large organization. Poor motivation may lead to shadow work or shoddy work. Next one, industrial relations may deteriorate as a result of these factors and also as a result of more complex interrelationships between different categories of worker. Production line processes and the complex interdependencies of mass production can lead to great disruption if there are holdups in any one part of the firm. Whether firms experience the economies of or diseconomies of scale will depend on the conditions applying in each individual firm. Thank you for watching. Look forward for the upcoming video clip.